Hey everybody, welcome back to Movie Cranks, and tonight, me and Larry have gone and seen a war epic by Roland Emmerich himself. Something I've been waiting all year for. So, let me introduce ourselves. This is Larry.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And I'm Mike. And tonight, we saw the World War II blockbuster, Midway. Little recap. I'm sure not everyone in our younger audience knows Midway. Unfortunately, a lot of history doesn't get taught nowadays, it seems.
It's actually, truly, one I really didn't know about until we went and seen it.
I'll just say public school, too. No, it's basically a battle, defining moment in naval history when the Americans were basically inferior in quality, equipment, manpower, ships, everything to the Japanese. And the Japanese were cut off from their supplies. The United States, which I'm glad they brought this up in the movie, was giving them all their fuel for a long time, like 80%. When the United States cut them off, they decided to attack. And that's how we had Pearl Harbor. And this movie kind of goes from the start of Pearl Harbor all the way to the Battle of Midway, and then kind of slides into home plate. So, Larry, I gotta ask you, what did you think of Midway?
I thought it was okay. It wasn't the greatest. To me, you said war epic. It didn't feel like a war epic to me. It was a decent movie. A lot of action. It really felt more like just a war action movie. I mean, like I said when we walked out, it's all the way through. It's just lots of battles. At times I really didn't even know which battles were going on or if the main battle was going on. But they do kind of tell you. They're like, all right, guys, this is it.
Yeah, they do a lot of planning and prep, and they have a lot of background in the movie. I know what you mean. If you're not into... Part of this movie is basically a war scene, and they're fighting, and they're blowing ships up, and they're using dive bombers, and there's a lot of people killed. And if you enjoy that part of the movie, if you like the war scenes, then you'll probably enjoy this. Yeah. There's another half of the movie, though, that is kind of what I fall into the Pearl Harbor with Ben Affleck kind of film.
There's a lot of similarities.
It's a lot of fluff, a lot of backstory that was unnecessary. There's a lot of tonal issues and pacing issues. Yeah, what I think is going to really off-put a younger audience.
Yeah, I think the pacing problem with this movie was mostly... You got the older actors,
yep,
that we talked about, and you got the younger actors, Ed Skrein, Joe Jonas.
Yeah.
And they seem like two different movies. One, the older actors seemed to be well-paced. They really were doing a good job.
Yeah.
And then you have the younger actors, which I got to do the voice, man. Ed Skrein, man, the whole time, I had a little problem with his character. He chews gum. And the whole movie, he's just like, hey, guys, we're going to go down there and we're going to kick their ass. America. Fuck yeah.
and I understand that's the character he's playing. I mean, Dick Best is an American legend. He's a war hero.
There's a lot of these actors doing the same thing. Yeah. I felt like they just kind of came in unprepared with the idea of we're just going to do an accent. Yeah. We're just going to act like it's the 1940s. And there you go.
I mean, you got Woody Harrelson. I mean, you've got Patrick Wilson, and they're playing these legendary characters. I mean, you got Nimitz, Charles Nimitz.
He's got a freaking, like, his own, what do they call those, like the destroyers? He's got one named after him now.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the carrier group, like the Nimitz aircraft carriers and all them. You've got all these major players are played by these older characters, and they do a great job. Woody Harrelson, all the rest of them. I mean, Aaron Eckhart even, who plays a little part.
He has a little part, which is...
Yeah, we'll talk about that too. This movie's kind of scatterbrained. They don't focus... I know the title's misleading. They don't focus just on Midway. You see the Battle of the Coral Sea. You see news reports about the Philippines. You see a lot of all these other things that are happening. And one of the problems I had was with the Doolittle raid. The Doolittle raid was in Pearl Harbor, the movie, and it was well done. They spent a lot of time on that scene. That was one of the most important parts of the movie, is Doolittle raid, where they go and launch from a carrier, U.S. Army bombers, and they hit Tokyo.
Yeah, but in a way though, it seems so forced and quickly put in.
Yes.
I mean, that's a whole movie in itself.
Like, he got up and went to get the restroom, and when he got back, they were suddenly on Doolittle attacking Tokyo out of nowhere. And when he sat down, I thought, he's not going to know what the heck's going on.
Oh, it didn't matter, because just like I said, I went to the bathroom like twice in this movie, and each time
it is a long movie.
I knew when I came back it was just going to be. I wasn't really going to lose my track, because it's just battles and battles and battles.
I mean, they do a good job of trying to show everybody. I mean, it felt a little weird because they were trying to show the people in the submarines. They were trying to show the people on the ships, trying to show the moms back home and the wives. And they were doing all these things and trying to cram it into a movie.
Yeah, and you just couldn't cram all that into this movie.
And that's what we said. The best thing they could have done, turned it into a Netflix series or something similar, or Amazon. This should have been a 5-part series about the Battle of Midway.
Oh yeah, I agree, because there's like 5 different stories in here, and they jump back and forth. They could have just taken their time with 1, 2, 3, 4.
And that's the pacing issue we talked about. When you're going from in a hospital room where they're having a loving moment, talking to each other, and then instantly are put into a carrier battle the next scene.
That happens a lot.
And then they switch over to somebody in a desk talking to a general, or Doolittle talking to somebody. It's just the pacing was all over the place.
And some of the dialogue too.
Here's the one thing I think that would have been a problem if they did expand it more. Pearl Harbor took it way beyond. That became a weird half romance, half war movie kind of setup. And I know I keep going back to that, but this movie's so similar in feel and look.
And there is a time there, I got a little confused. And this is about the only time. And that's, you may have noticed it, where they fight a battle, and then they're like gone.
Yeah,
and then they turn around, they're back home in their own beds. And I'm like, I'm confused.
That's another thing. And that has to go with pacing. They'll be fighting a battle, and then all of a sudden it'll show all of them back at Pearl Harbor in base, like talking and going to a ball or a dance. Yeah. And it's like, whoa, that just happened. I mean, what they did was they didn't have enough time in a 2-hour movie to break up all these scenes and put them in place properly. Yeah. And I don't fault him for that. He just went too far. I think if they'd have stuck with just doing Midway with these actors, it would have been better. It felt like the CGI was really good.
Now that is one thing.
Yeah.
The CGI, the action, the effects, the pacing when they're in the planes and everything. I even like the younger guys when they're out there battling. I was cool with that. But it's just when they're all together talking. There's so many.
Like
in this movie, there are just like so many like little one-liners
and pep scenes. They're trying to rah,
exactly.
And hey, we got to go and fight, and people standing on bars and things like that. There's a lot of that.
A lot of that in this movie.
And there wasn't enough time to establish these characters to where I cared a lot about them. I cared about the guys that were back home more than I cared about the guys fighting in the planes.
That's one problem I think I really do have with this movie. Way too many characters.
Yeah, there's a lot of characters.
You got Joe Jonas, you got Ed Skrin, you got like 5 or 6 other guys. And it's just like, I don't even know when some of them died.
Well, and that's the thing. They'll say the name of the person that didn't come back, and you're like, wait a minute, who was that? Because they didn't focus on them. They focused on so many people. It felt weird. It felt like you didn't care enough.
Except for the one Brutus or Bruno or whatever his name was. I think it was played by Joe Jonas. I kind of knew when he died because he just got a unique name.
Yeah.
Everybody else, I didn't really know, and I really didn't care.
But in some of the good things, though, the epic war scenes in this, they had some great battles.
Now, that's the thing to where it gets good.
Yeah.
If you know that you came through when people are counting on you, to be able to face anything.
Because it's not really the worst movie. It's a good movie.
No.
I enjoyed it.
And that's why I wanted to point out that the movie was done tastefully. They had good scenes that involved the Japanese and the Americans. You saw both sides. You saw the Japanese wanted to strike first in Pearl Harbor and all this stuff, and you saw the anger of the Americans and lashing back at them and all that. They did a great job of showcasing the actual sides.
I think they actually did a good job, like showing both sides and the war games they were playing.
Yeah.
You know, because you didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah, because they were showing it on these maps.
Yeah.
And they had these overheads, and they were showing the fleet is here, these guys are here. And it was all, back in those days, they didn't have radar and things to find the other ships. So you had to spot them, and that was like a cat and mouse game they did. And they did that well.
And I guess this is something true. It's something I go, you know what, that actually is really smart. So they got these guys, and they're decoding these messages, and they've lost a lot of people. A lot of people aren't really experienced in that. And they're like, yeah, they're just musicians. They thought maybe they know the strings, they know the codes.
They'd see patterns.
They would see patterns.
Yeah. And what's cool is this is all based on true story.
Yeah.
And you can tell Roland Emmerich, he put a lot of time into making this as close to realistic as he could. I think he just tried to bite off a lot more than what he could handle.
Yeah. And the effects are good, but I still can't put them up with Dunkirk. Dunkirk felt real.
Yeah.
There's times here that you can tell it's just CGI.
Dunkirk was very realistic. To whereas this, sometimes you felt like when they're on deck of a carrier and it's really bright and you're like, ooh, it's a little fuzzy and a little fake. Those are the only times that I felt a little off. Little nitpicks, but you know what? We enjoyed it. It's worth seeing.
Yeah, I'd go see it.
Take your kids. Not kids.
Take your children to go see it now.
Not kids. It's a little too rough for children. Take the young adults. Take someone that's 13 and up that doesn't know much about World War II, and this is a very good way to get them involved. Because I was interested from start to finish because I love history.
Yeah, you actually didn't even go to the bathroom. I was kind of surprised.
I was holding it.
I thought you were actually going to like it even more because I was like, I thought it was okay.
You know what?
And I thought you were going to be like, it was really good.
If they'd have focused just on Midway and kept it a clean story with good pacing, I'd have loved this.
Yeah, I think together, if they would have just done either side of the story and gave a little more attention
to the characters,
to that, yeah, I thought it could have been better doing it that way. But
all in all, though, it was a very, very good take on Midway.
Yeah.
And it was amazing to see the courage of these people that it's hard to put yourself in their shoes because you just see them getting obliterated. And it's sad and it makes you feel bad when you see these guys just ripped to shreds. But I'm glad they have movies like this. And Clint Eastwood does
and it was
this
good. This was a very turning point in the war.
Big.
Because otherwise America was going to get invaded by the Japanese.
It was very possible.
And that would have been totally different. I can only imagine if our grandma and grandpas and aunts, uncles, great-grandpas, or whatever, whoever that is to you would have had to go through
a land war.
A bombing of America.
Yeah. I'm just glad it didn't come to that. Yeah. And I'm glad that movies like this are made so we can get a good perspective. And all these other movies that came out that highlight these historical events. It's just, I wish this one focused a little bit more on the characters and things like that, a little better, because I think this is going to hurt its numbers. I don't know if this is going to do well. It's sitting in at a 43 on Metacritic.
We did go to a theater, which normally nobody's at. It's our favorite theater.
Yeah.
And I will say there were people
packed.
in there.
It's just the people that were there
I think
are
it was older generation.
Probably 65 plus. Yeah. So the good generation. So the best.
You're going to have a lot of people going, no!
Yeah. But you know what? I guess we should do this. What, Larry, would you give Midway for your final rating?
I would say the acting was lacking on the younger side. The veterans did a good job.
They made up for it.
I did like the fact that they gave us the story and the tactics involved. I do like the action. I thought the CGI looked great. Actually better than what it looked like on the trailer. I was a little worried there. And I've seen some of these movies with Bruce Willis and Nicolas Cage where they kind of do the same thing. Trust me, this is good CGI.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and give this one a C+.
Oh, very good. That's almost exactly what I was going to rate it. I would say I enjoyed it. I wasn't bored. There was a lot of great action. If you're a war movie junkie, you're going to love this. If you like Dunkirk but wanted more Roland Emmerich, that's this. So I would have to say, with all that wrapped up, I would have to give this a B-. It was going to be a C+, except I love history movies. I love war movies.
I feel bad doing this review because I feel like we kind of jump on it a little bit.
Yeah, we do.
But the negatives are small negatives.
No, and
they're not really
yeah.
something to destroy the movie.
I mean, a B- and a C+ are excellent compared to some of the crap we've seen at the beginning of the year.
Oh, yeah.
So,
but I just had fun with the overall the pacing was a little off, but
I would watch this again.
I like the action.
Like, if this came out on Netflix or something, I'd watch it with my dad.
Yeah, I'd watch it again.
You know, so I think, honestly, it's worth a watch.
Yep.
So anyway, guys, thank you for once again coming out and watching us. Hopefully everyone likes the new setup. We've got new camera setup. We've got new lighting. We've got all kinds of stuff we're putting together for this little show. And make sure to go to Facebook and go there and join the 2,300 people we've got. It's amazing. We love all you guys, and thank you for all the questions and comments and everything. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, so do that and subscribe, man. That's
Yeah, exactly what he said. From Brooklyn here.
Join the cranks. Come on, you can do it.
So anyway, Larry, you got anything else?
No, that's about all I got.
No, you did one today.
What? Oh, yeah. Check out my review for, what did I watch last night? The King, yeah.
And you're getting a lot of praise.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good movie. Definitely for Netflix. It definitely outdid Outlaw King.
Unexpected. I think you gave it a very good rating. Mm-hmm. And so far, the reviews on the review were great. So make sure to go check it out as well.
Yep. But that's all we got, guys. Until next time, see you later.
See ya.